It's not always sunny in Hollywood. It's not true. It's not sunny. It's not. Oh, hi, guys.
Hey, Lugia, what's up?
Pretty good. Anyway, how's the sex life?
Non-existent. Hey everyone, my name is Red. Welcome to It's Always Sunny in Hollywood. Who you just heard was Lugia, and I want you to introduce yourself, the third guy.
Silent man.
Yes.
Yep, that's me. Hello, my name is Patrick, and I am the third wheel, I guess, of this trio.
Yep. Today is a special episode because it's going to be our first time we're talking about two movies at once.
It's gonna be
One
a
of them
special
is
occasion.
the most infamous movie of all time.
And one of them is about the most infamous movie of all time. Anyway, let's just briefly jump into some entertainment news. Some catch-up video game news I forgot to mention last week. Pac-Man 99 came out. Any of you guys play it?
No.
Nope.
I don't really indulge in like those kind of games. I was about to say Battle Royale, but it's not really a Battle Royale. I have played Tetris 99 a little bit, but after like maybe an hour of gameplay, I just kind of put it down.
I would recommend Pac-Man 99. It's a lot easier than Tetris 99. Tetris 99 was the only one that actually took me a while to get first place, but this one in Mario 35, yeah, I got first place like day one.
I mean, Mario 35 isn't a thing anymore.
It isn't.
Remember, guys, Mario's dead.
He is dead.
Mario's dead.
Rest in spaghetti.
Yes. It's now the year of Luigi. Everything's coming up Luigi.
Now it's the year of Sonic. It's Sonic's 30th anniversary. It's the year of Sonic.
Sure it is.
It's Sonic's 30th anniversary this year.
Oh yeah, shit. His 20th anniversary is 2011, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. Well, speaking of Sonic, Battle in Wonderland came out. Any of you guys play that? Wonder World, fuck.
No. I don't play it too, honestly. From all the reviews that I've heard, hell no.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was Wonderland.
I don't
know.
Terrible.
I don't know a single thing about this game other than Yuji Naka was a part of it.
Yuji Naka and I think someone from Square Enix, surprisingly.
Other than that, I know nothing about this game.
Square Enix. Yuji Naka now works for Square Enix. Yeah, I've heard no good things about it. I think the design for Balan's cool. It kind of looks like Knights. I played the Saturn and Wii version. Actually, I played both Knights games.
It would be cool if you could, play as him.
Yeah, I played the demo briefly. Yeah, the game's not good. Honestly, it shouldn't be $60. Like maybe 20, whatever. Anyway, let's step away from video games for a sec. The Army of the Dead trailer came out, which is Zack Snyder's newest movie. You guys watch it?
Nope.
No, I did not.
It looks like a heist movie, but in the zombie apocalypse, so that looks kind of interesting. There's a zombie tiger at one point. I don't know, I'm looking forward to it. I don't like Zack Snyder's movies, but it seems like he's embracing the more cartoonish side of things, which I always thought he should do, because visually he's a good director. It's just, I don't like his stories that much. And apparently his last zombie movie was actually good, so who knows. Anyway, here's interesting. The next news is related to Sonic. Jaleel White just released a weed brand. Yeah, so I don't know. I guess Sonic wants to go slow sometimes. Yeah. Anyway, in more sad news, Adam Perkins, the Vine star?
Mm-hmm.
He made the "Hi, welcome to Chili's."
Yeah.
Apparently he passed away.
I heard about that. What were the circumstances?
I'm not sure. All I know is that his brother basically announced that he died. I can briefly double check. Adam Perkins.
May he rest in peace.
Yeah, they chose to not disclose the cause of death. And
Okay.
you know what? That's perfectly fine. It's none of our business.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Now, in TV shows, the 4th and last season of Castlevania was announced. I only saw season 1.
Same
Luca,
here.
have you seen it? I know you're a big Castlevania fan.
I plan on watching the rest of the seasons at some point.
Yeah. It's not the end of the franchise. There will be a spin-off, and some speculate it's going to follow a new Belmont. Hopefully it'll be Simon or Richter, since, those are the
or
big
Julius.
fan favorites.
If we're not going to get our 1999 game, at least make it a show.
I have never played nor watched Castlevania, so I can't say anything.
You haven't played any of the Castlevania games?
Oh, nothing
There's a
personal. It's
lot
just
I can recommend.
it's nothing personal. It's just I
Yeah.
never really was interested.
Yeah, me and Lugia, we're like on opposite ends of the spectrum because I'm a big fan of like those old school arcadey linear Castlevania games, and he's more into the Metroidvanias.
I mean, I do like the classic ones as
So
well, like Super Castlevania 4 and Rondo of Blood. Those are really good.
yeah, but those don't have like the same arcadey clunky controls. Those are
And
a bit more
Castlevania 1
fresh.
is also pretty up there.
Also, the Infinity Train, it aired its fourth and final season. You guys watch that?
Nope.
I watched the pilot episode of Infinity Train. I have not seen the series but my brother has, and he really likes it. So maybe one day I'll
Yeah.
check it out.
From what I've heard of my friends, season 2 and 3, like season 1 is just mediocre, but the seasons after that are really good. I saw season 1. Yeah, it's okay. Not mind blowing, but it's okay. I'll check out the other seasons some other day. Now that it's over too, so I always found the format to be interesting because it's an anthology show where like each season has a different main character. So I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, apparently they announced a new Avatar series is coming out April 22nd. Many speculated it'd be a new animated series, but it turns out it's just a discussion show by fans. So honestly, I don't know why I even put this in the news section. This is kind of pointless. You guys are fans of Avatar?
Nope.
I remember my brother was a big fan of Avatar when it aired. I sporadically watched a few episodes when it was on. I've never seen the series all the way through though.
Okay, you guys definitely need to watch it, especially
I
season
intend to
2
watch.
and
I
3.
intend to
Like
watch it
season
one
1,
day. I
yeah.
intend to watch it
Well,
one day.
watch it because one of these days a Shyamalan movie's gonna come on, and I don't want you guys to be like, oh, I gotta watch the whole
Do we
show
have
too.
to talk? Do we have to talk about the
Alright.
Shyamalan movie?
At some
I
point,
kind of want to
maybe.
talk about I find Shyamalan to be one of the most fascinating directors in the world. I want to talk about every one of his movies at some point.
Dude, I saw The Last Airbender when it first came out. I have no interest in seeing it again.
Okay,
We'll
well,
talk. We'll
don't
talk
worry.
about this. We'll talk about this later.
We're gonna talk about his good movies first. That way, like when we get to Last Airbender, we're gonna be like, what happened to this man?
Honestly,
What broke him?
enough people have complained about Shyamalan. Do we really need to add to the discussion?
Well, that's the thing. I like Shyamalan. I've seen 5 of his movies. And I've enjoyed all of them. I haven't seen his bad movies yet, and that's why I'm curious.
So is the last
Anyway,
Airbender like the point where he just became bad?
here's the thing. His first 2 movies are considered great. Everyone likes them. His next 2 movies have a bit more of a mixed reception. Some love them, some don't. And then he became bad.
Gotcha. Okay.
But he's apparently sort of came back last few years. Everyone liked Split, but the movie The Visit and Glass have a more of a mixed reception. Some love it, some hate it. So, who knows? Whatever. Anyway, comic book news. Alfred Molina, who played Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man 2, confirmed that the version of Doc Ock he's playing in the new Spider-Man movie is the same one from Spider-Man 2. It's apparently going to be a multiverse thing. I think that's a horrible idea. Not the multiverse, but the fact that Doc Ock is going to be a villain again, because that completely misses the point of Spider-Man 2. You guys have all seen Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
I've seen the first Spider-Man movie.
2 is the
I've
one
not
I remember the most. I don't remember a whole lot about the first one, and I've never seen the third one before.
All right. Spider-Man 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time, so I care about this deeply.
I might get some flack for this, but the only Spider-Man movies I've seen are the original Sam Raimi one, Amazing Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Far From Home, and Spider-Verse.
At least you saw some of the good ones, because I consider Spider-Man 1, Homecoming, and Spider-Verse to be pretty good. Amazing Spider-Man 2 is considered the worst Spider-Man movie, so my condolences. You need to watch Spider-Man 2, though, because that's like
Well,
one of my favorite movies. I think the train scene is like one of the best action scenes like ever made. God, I'm definitely gonna recommend that. Like, I love that movie.
I am looking forward to No Way Home,
Um,
since I did like Homecoming and Far From Home.
No Way Home though, it's definitely gonna try pandering to the fans because basically popular fan consensus is that there has not been a superhero movie better than Spider-Man 2, like ever. The only thing that came close is The Dark Knight, and people are like, Spider-Man 2 felt like it was right off the pages of the comic book. Dark Knight isn't really like Batman in the comics at all. It's just, a kind of cool stand story of its own right. Any of you guys seen Nobody or Mortal Kombat? Those came out a few days ago.
I've not
Nope.
seen either of them.
Okay, so Nobody, I recommend it. It's basically John Wick, but Saul Goodman is playing John Wick. So I don't know if you're a fan of Bob Odenkirk or John Wick. I recommend it. I'm a fan of both. Anyway, how was your sex life?
Well, like you said in the beginning, non-existent.
All right. Yep, COVID is destroying us. So let's jump into the room.
All right,
Okay.
Lugia, you take it from here.
All right.
Yep,
So,
what's the plot?
do we even need to give a spoiler section for The Room? Because I mean,
Nah,
I'll
not
be
really.
honest, not a whole lot happens. It tries to make itself seem like there's more than there actually is, when there isn't. So, I'll do the
Yep.
best I can with the shit that matters.
Take it
So,
away.
Johnny is a banker in San Francisco, California. He is in love with this woman he met called Lisa. The two are engaged, and they plan on having a wedding until Lisa, behind Johnny's back, realizes that she doesn't like him all that much, and she constantly tells her mother about this. Johnny does not learn about this until halfway through when he overhears the two talking. So what he decides to do is record a conversation over the phone for some reason, even though he already knows what's going on. Also, Lisa is dating Johnny's best friend, Mark, because I guess Mark is more attractive. I mean, I can kind of see that, but also...
There's also Denny, who
I mean,
honestly
does
Denny
Denny
has really
fucking
no
matter?
significance to the main plot. Denny is some child somehow got involved in Johnny's life. We don't know. They're not related.
This
All
movie
we-
raises
he's
more.
some kid.
This movie raises more questions than answers. That
Like, all
really
we know
don't matter.
about Denny is that Johnny's giving him a place to live, and he's also paying for his college tuition.
And he might be an
So I'm
orphan,
guess-
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm guessing he's like he has the same relationship with Johnny as like Batman has with Robin, because like in the early versions of the Batman comic, like he didn't like adopt Robin. Robin was just a dude that stayed at his house.
But
Okay.
in the end, it really doesn't matter because you're not going into this movie expecting a deep plot.
So we have that in motion. Johnny
I thought we
knows...
were done with the plot.
He doesn't know that Lisa
had
is cheating
cut
on him with Mark. So days pass, shit happens that doesn't matter, until we get to Johnny's birthday party, which is when the climax happens. And then Johnny learns that Mark has been dating Lisa, the two get into a fight, Johnny just cries in the bathroom for a little bit, everyone else leaves, Lisa says she doesn't love him anymore, and he just goes apeshit and destroys everything, even the pictures of the spoons, until
Yeah.
he has a conveniently placed gun in a chest and kills himself.
Basically, the short version of the
Yep.
plot is that it's a really shitty love triangle.
Pretty much.
Yep.
And thus we have The Room.
Yes.
So,
All right. What are your brief thoughts?
alright.
Why don't you start off, Patrick?
I think Lugia should start since he likely has the most to say.
I'll do my
I know,
best.
because he has the most to say, I think.
I mean, you
I
two
know,
can
but-
interject at
Might be better for
any
him to be
point.
more reactive,
but-
No, it's just I think I know Patrick, I know Lugia, sorry. I know Lugia has been waiting for this moment since we started this podcast, so I'll let him have his fun.
Yep. All right. You get your
So-
catharsis.
If you know me, you know that I am an unapologetic fan of this movie. And I talk about it all the fucking time. I have merchandise of it. There's a Tommy Wiseau bobblehead right there next to me. And, I love this movie, but I gotta get one thing out here. It's fucking stupid. Like, if you're looking at this from a critical eye, just like Samurai Cop, which we did a few episodes back, this is a terrible movie. Like, everything... Okay, we've already went over the plot, but, like, even that has its own inconsistencies. We didn't go over all the other shit that goes on in it, because it doesn't matter. They're just...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like what
One of the
Lisa's mom has breast cancer and it never
never
comes
addressed
up
again.
Denny's
There's
drug
this
addiction
dude that's just like
never addressed
Never comes
again.
up again.
yeah, Denny's well that one does come back again, but it's just like
Does it though?
I mean, doesn't the gangster come and like smack him up a bit?
And
No, that's just for one scene.
if you somehow blank out and miss certain aspects of the plot, don't worry. They'll repeat it. They repeat over and over again that Mark is Johnny's best friend and that Lisa does not love Johnny anymore. They
Lisa doesn't
repeat
wanna
that
talk about it.
thoroughly a lot. To the point that you could make a
Apparently
drinking
the-
game out of it.
Oh, now I remember. I was talking about how this movie was originally going to be a play, and I'm like, honestly, if it's a play, well, it probably would have been worse. But at the same time, like, I think the fact that it's recorded is how it got remembered in infamy. Because a bad play, no one's going to remember a bad play. It's not like the script's going to get passed around and people are going to make fun of it. So I don't know. I think it's a good thing that Tommy poured over $6 million into this movie.
At least 5 million did not even need to be used for this movie.
Yeah, like good lord, $6 million. I'm trying to. Do you know how many movies were made for under 6 million? Reservoir Dogs, Tarantino's big breakout was 1 million. A lot of the Coen Brothers movies are under a million. God, some of the best movies of all time for under $6 million, and then we got this, which I honestly, if someone told me it was made in 2004 and I didn't already know, I wouldn't believe him because this movie does not look like it was made in 2004.
This movie was made in 2003.
Oh, okay, even well, you get the point. It doesn't look like a
Yeah, but-
2000s movie. It looks like a movie from the 80s. I like a cheesy B movie from the 80s. Like if we're talking like the actual good movies of the time, it looks like no decade. Every decade has had movies that looks better than this.
Well, this movie. Nah, don't worry about it.
It
We'll get to
also
that later.
sounds worse than most movies of the decade, because I'm pretty sure you guys noticed this, but a lot of lines, especially from Wiseau, are dubbed over.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did he just not have a microphone? Was the audio quality during the shooting? Was that just terrible? I don't know. Why
Okay.
did they even dub it over?
To be fair, a lot of movies actually dub it over. It's just most movies do it so well no one notices. But dubbing over is actually incredibly common in the film industry. He just sucked at it here.
Isn't this like especially common in like So Bad They're Good movies? Because didn't Samurai Cop have the same problem?
Yeah, but that's the
Yeah.
thing. Like dubbing is incredibly common. It happens in practically every movie. It's just these movies are bad. Like
It's so
they-
bad it's
they
good
didn't-
movies, it's way more obvious.
Yeah.
Because they don't even try. They don't even mask it.
And by the way, Luke, I looked in the notes. Yeah, Lugia, if you like the Golden Gate Bridge, then this movie's got you covered.
They had like how many establishing shots of the Golden Gate Bridge did they even have? I
They es-
lost count.
they-
I think it
they
was
es-
5.
They establish shots of locations that aren't even used.
There was like what, the gazebo in the park?
There's the gazebo, there's like an island, there's
It's
like
like
the
it's like a-
church.
I forgot what comedy show it was, but I remember this one gag, like maybe in Police Squad or something, where anytime they're driving, they would just have like the location constantly change when they're driving. But that was a show that was trying to be funny. Like this is trying to be a drama. How many sex scenes are in this movie?
I
4.
counted 5.
I counted 4. 3 of them are before we hit the 30-minute mark, we see 3 of them.
There's
Yeah.
2 with Lisa and Johnny, and 1 with Lisa and Mark.
And
And I
there's
guess you
one
could
that
also count
reuses
Mike and
shots, right?
Michelle.
There's a lot that reuses shots, right? I remember one like
The
in particular
first,
had a lot.
the third one reuses a lot of shots from the first one.
And boy, those sex scenes are something. I'll say this, they're a lot better than the ones in Samurai Cop, but that is not saying much.
They're not
So,
that much better.
At least these have the cheesy music playing over them, so it's kind of funny.
So something I noticed about the ending that I didn't notice the first time I saw it was that I almost guaranteed that Tommy saw Citizen Kane and was just trying to rip off the ending of that because like the ending of Citizen Kane has Charles Foster Kane, flip out and destroy his room the exact same way, and I'm like, man, Tom really thought he was doing something there, huh?
Masterpiece of movie. I create.
If I copy masterpiece, it is same as masterpiece.
I guess now we can talk about the performances.
Tommy Wiseau is the most standout performance in the entire movie.
Absolutely.
I know
He's not
that's an obvious statement, but like, if you've
Here's
never
a-
seen The Room before, you're gonna be laughing your ass off.
here's an interesting question I want to pose. I've seen video of Tommy in real life, and that's just how he acts. So the question
Mm-hmm.
is he truly a bad actor if he's actually acting exactly like how he would act in real life?
He's trying to be himself in the movie. Isn't this? I think The Room was initially written to be like an autobiography of some kind. So
That's what I'm saying.
Johnny
Like,
is a self-insert of Tommy Wiseau. Granted, he doesn't kill himself, obviously, but
yeah,
for most of the movie, he tries to write his story.
yeah. This isn't Birdman. You guys ever see Birdman?
No.
I have not.
All right. Okay. Well, some actor he writes a play. It's about him, and at the end, his character also kills himself. Except in Birdman, like the dude actually shoots himself in the head on stage in front of a bunch of people, and it's like, ooh, Jesus.
Well, as for the rest of the performances, you guys remember the Charlie's Angels video game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's basically on the same level.
It's a
Talk
very
about
interesting comparison.
the
That's just
PlayStation
what I
one.
thought of. Yes, the PlayStation, the really crappy Charlie's Angels game,
Cool.
the one that JonTron talked about in that one video.
I have. I don't remember. I haven't seen John John in a while, but I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's basically same level.
I thought Denny's performance was really funny. I'd say out of the performances, he's probably my second favorite.
The kid also got terrorized on stage. The Chris R scene. I forget who the
Yeah.
actor's name was, but like when he was like yelling, "Where's my fucking money, Denny?" Like he actually scared him.
I'd say Greg and Lisa, like their performances are just kind of wooden. They're not like the worst thing ever. Lisa's mom is surprisingly like kind of convincing, honestly.
Yeah, Lisa's mom is like the best performance unironically.
I definitely got breast cancer.
I can kind of agree with that, yeah.
Because like that actually sounds like a human talking.
In terms of actual like quality acting, definitely Claudette and I guess Chris R too. Well, speaking of the characters, I think it's clear that Tommy Wiseau envisioned a world where these characters are fleshed out, they have their own backstories, hence why we have all those plot twists. But he
Mhm.
doesn't do anything with them. So
Like,
these fleshed out characters aren't really fleshed out at all.
Yeah, like it's the things that they say are there. The twists are there, but that's it. They're
They don't
just
have
there.
an impact. They don't alter the story. They just
No.
they exist,
I
and
feel
then
like
we
it's
just
trying-
forget about them.
I feel like he was trying to make a Tarantino movie because a lot of Tarantino movies are just, a bunch of people talking and they all have very complex backstories that we don't really see, but they're implied. He tried to be like Tarantino mixed with, Citizen Kane. Okay, comparatively to Samurai Cop, who had the best sex scenes?
I mean, I'd rather watch the sex scenes from The Room. They're not
All right.
good, but I'd rather watch these because at least these kind of serve a point.
I
Whereas
could
in
do
Samurai
without
Co-
the constant moaning and laughing, though.
Yeah. Whereas in
Yeah.
Samurai Cop, it's just like a scene happens and then a sex scene happens and then it's basically a porno edited into a movie.
Yeah. Let's see. Did we talk about the score?
Honestly, the score for this movie, this is my second time watching this movie. Upon like listening to the score, it sounds like it belongs in a fantasy video game.
I can kind of
Especially
hear
like
it.
especially the
Zelda?
main theme. Yeah, something like Zelda or something Kirby.
I can kind of see that. So I decided, for my general thoughts, that I was going to. Thing is, it's a terrible drama. It's so stupid as a drama, and no one's going to watch it as a drama. So I decided to judge it as a comedy. So, through the lens of a comedy, fantastic performances, fantastic visual gags, like when the boom mic comes out and like the famous "Oh, I did not scene." That's a masterclass of visual comedy. Like that's funny because of the way Tommy comes out and throws the bottle and all that shit.
Despite it taking like 33
Yeah.
takes.
Masterful comedic timing there.
That's the most iconic scene in the movie.
Honestly, I swear to God, if I saw this movie with no context, I would think the Hauser sex life thing was like actually like meant to be funny. It would make me question if this is like Black Dynamite because the Hauser sex scene, the way he says that, just comedically, it has perfect comedic timing. I don't know how he could possibly think it's not. I don't know how he thought people were gonna take it seriously. I'm blown away by the enigma of Tommy Wiseau's mind. What I found interesting was that how repetitive the movie is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it switches from like it getting kind of annoying because of how much it's repeating, but that at some point the repetition becomes funny again. Like it becomes funny that they repeat themselves so much. Like I was trying to think of like if I was to judge this movie as a comedy, how would I suggest they improve it? And I'm not sure because like I wouldn't say cut out the repetition because the repetition is kind of funny, and I wouldn't say like I don't know, maybe have less shots of Tommy's ass. I mean, it's kind of funny the crazy amount of sex scenes, but like I don't know, I just don't want to see Tommy's ass that much. Maybe the pace. I feel like some pace sometimes like it is just genuinely slow and uninteresting. Like I don't know, like the doggy scene. That scene is hilarious, and that scene goes at like a breakneck pace. Like I don't know. I feel like maybe it'd be funnier if it had tighter editing. I don't know. That's the only suggestion I can really make to improve it as a comedy. I don't know. Maybe dub more lines. The dubbing was pretty crazy.
So basically, your suggestions to make this movie better or to make this movie worse?
See, that's the thing. I think to make this movie better, I don't know. Like that's the thing. Like I feel like it might be a more effective comedy if some parts of it were genuinely better, but I'm also not sure. Because I do feel like at a certain point in the movie, I do get a bit bored. It like loops back around to being funny, but I'm trying to think of like during that section, I do get bored. Maybe they can like tighten up the pace a bit. I don't know. I feel like anytime I want to rewatch the movie, I don't want to rewatch the whole movie. I'd rather just pull up the YouTube highlights. How'd you guys want to rate it?
It's kind of weird how we have to rate this movie. It's like Samurai Cop again, where
Yeah.
we know it's terrible. It's not a
Yeah.
good movie at all.
With Samurai Cop, I said it was like a 2 out of 10, but if I was to rate it like on entertainment value, it'd be a 5. Here, actual quality value, 1 out of 10. Like it is filmmaking wise worse than Samurai Cop, but entertainment value, I'd say solid 7.
I'd give it a 9 out of 10 because it is a textbook example of how you don't make a film.
I have a sneaking suspicion I might like Neil Breen a bit more. We'll see when we get to him. What about you, Patrick?
I'd have to agree with you, Red. I'd say like if you're looking at it like as a so bad it's good movie, it's like a 7, a solid 7. Not one of my personal favorites, but I do understand the appeal of why so many people like it. But as an actual movie, oh yeah, it's like a 1 or a 2 out of 10. It is awful. I will say this though, if you do watch The Room, watch it with friends. It is way more fun that way.
It is the best experience, especially
Yeah.
with friends who have never even seen the movie before.
Because the first time I saw this movie, I watched it with you guys. But to watch it again for this podcast, I watched it by myself, and it was just not as fun.
Yeah, I'd say watch it with your parents, but at the same time,
No,
the sex
No.
scenes.
no. You got to have the
So-
right audience. You got to have the right audience for
Okay,
it.
so briefly going over the cast list, I noticed that you've put down that Greg Sestero was in The Haunting of Bly Manor. Was he really?
He was.
Huh.
He was
Good
also
for
in The
him.
Blessed Ignorance of Men.
I've never heard of that, but I heard of The Haunting of Bly Manor. Interesting. One minor detail I want to bring up before we move on to the Disaster Artist is that I don't know why, but it fucked me up that Denny's name was Denny, like the restaurant Denny's, and not Danny, because I just thought it was Danny, and like Tommy was just messing up his name.
I could see why you would think that, considering Mark's character was supposed to be named after Matt Damon, but he always thought it was Mark Damon.
Okay, so if you noticed, if you've seen our previous episodes, that we did not really go over the background of the movie that much. That's because the next movie is the background. Of course, there's some inaccuracies that we'll point out, but for the most part, The Disaster Artist is about the making of The Room. One side comic, I find it pretty funny how we ended up revisiting Seth Rogen and company before we ended up revisiting any of the prestigious directors. We've talked about Martin Scorsese, and we talked about Seth Rogen more than once, not Scorsese. I can't do his laugh. I don't know why I even bothered. Anyway.
So before we talk about the plot, we should mention that The Disaster Artist started out as a memoir written by Greg Sestero himself. It was basically him saying how he met Tommy Wiseau, how their friendship kind of happened, and what the making of The Room was like. And
you've
if
read
the
this
title
book,
of the
right?
book didn't tell you already, it was a fucking disaster.
Yeah. You've read this book, right?
I have. I
All right,
highly
and-
recommend the book, but
Yeah, we haven't
I
seen
hear
read
the
book,
audiobook
we
is
just
actually
saw
better.
the movie. Yeah, maybe.
So we'll just briefly go over the plot. So Greg met Tommy in an acting class because of his very odd performance. I forget what scene he was trying to do.
I think it was something from Hamlet or Shakespeare.
So they became best friends after that. Tommy gave him his own room in his condo in LA, and the two decided that they're going to make it big. They're going to be like big time actors.
Yep.
Greg was definitely on his way to becoming that. Tommy, not so much. So when
Yep.
Tommy learns that no one's willing to take him for his acting job, Greg convinces him to make a movie of his own. So that began the production of The Room. And like we said before, it was a nightmare for both the cast and crew because Tommy does not know a single thing about directing. And we can get into why
The
that
details
is
later.
down the road. Yeah, despite the
Before we
movie's
start,
shortcomings in production, people at the premiere loved it, even if Tommy didn't realize that people loved it for the wrong reason.
accuracy in this movie, how accurate would you say it is, Lugia?
It's accurate for the most part. It's been a while since I read the book, but I don't remember
Yeah.
the part where Greg had a falling out with Tommy. I thought the two were. I remember the two being friends for most of it.
Yeah. There's some inaccuracies. They punch up for drama. The biggest difference I've noticed is the Malcolm in the Middle stuff, entirely fake. That just
Yeah, I
did
don't
not
remember that
happen.
from the book either.
Yeah, I guess they just figured that when did this movie come out? 2019? All right, whatever. And they're probably just like,
2017.
we
Came
got
out
Brian.
2017.
Okay, they're like, we got Bryan Cranston. You know, everyone likes Bryan Cranston. Let's just toss him in. Also, the ending. I know for a fact that's inaccurate because movie slowly built up the cult following. Like it wasn't like in the movie it was just like, oh, the premiere happened and it instantly became like a
Yeah,
so
there
bad
weren't
as a
really a
good
whole lot of
classic.
people at the premiere.
Yeah, and he immediately was like, oh yes, this is a comedy movie. I intended like no, he didn't say change it to being a comedy until years after the fact. Let's talk about performances, I guess, since that's what most people are interested in.
James Franco, he did a really good job in this film for how he portrayed Tommy. It's not 100% accurate, but you could tell there was effort behind it.
Yeah.
I agree.
You know, at the end of the movie, they played like a bunch of clips from the room, and I found it interesting how like all the other characters was like a little bit out of sync. They didn't quite nail every single thing, but with James Franco, it straight up just synced up perfectly. It was like he just had the exact same timing as Tommy, and I was like, huh.
Like
I
you could
appreciate the
tell
effort on his
he
part.
studied the room.
Yeah. I found it interesting casting choice and how Greg Sestero is played by James Franco's brother, Dave Franco. So like they kind of look similar like the whole time. It was like I found that interesting. I was wondering if he was trying to make like a commentary on them being brothers or something. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. The rest of the cast was fine, I guess. We got Seth Rogen playing the director of.
I completely forgot that Zac Efron was in this.
It was interesting with Zac Efron because he was like in heavy makeup when we first see him, so you don't even recognize him at first. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, "Oh yeah, I played
Chris R.
Chris R." Yeah, and then you got I think Josh Hutcherson or something, the guy
Yeah,
from
Josh Hutcherson.
he played Denny.
Hannibal Buress was also in the film, and that caught me off guard.
I was thrown
Yeah.
off when I saw Nathan Fielder because I was like,
A lot
"Oh,
of
it's
famous
Nathan for
people in
you."
this.
Yeah, I mean the opening scene was just a bunch of famous people talking because it was
It was just interviews
yeah,
about like how the legacy of the room.
yep. I will admit, I think the directing is kind of mediocre. I didn't think the directing was all that great I mean, it was fine, but that's it. It was just fine. I'd say the most standout part of the direction is how good they are at recreating the scenes of the room. But like outside of that, it's just a mediocrely directed movie. And I also feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities. Well, they don't even address how the room is clearly dubbed. The dubbing is not even brought up in the movie, and all the recreations don't have dubbing. I was like, I don't know. I feel like instead of adding some of the stuff that wasn't real, they should have like maybe focused on stuff like the dubbing or like maybe for the ending they stretch it out a bit longer to see him slowly realize it rather than just being this one failed swoop. I don't know. I'll admit I don't like this movie that much. I certainly like it a lot less than The Room. I don't think it's the worst movie I've seen or anything, but I don't think it's that good.
Fair enough.
Okay.
And I should mention, one of the reasons I think I like it less than it is because since then there are actually several movies about untalented artists that make bad movies that become cult classics, and out of all of them I've seen, this is the worst one. To be fair, the other one is directed by Tim Burton in his prime, so of course it's going to be worse than that because it's Tim Burton at his prime, but still, I ultimately just kept on making Ed Wood comparisons. I'm like, this just isn't as good as Ed Wood.
I haven't seen Ed Wood, but I can kind of understand where you're coming from since this movie doesn't really do anything remarkable. But
Yeah,
I do think it's good for what it is. It does a solid job covering
yeah.
the production of The Room.
Yeah, I just think I think the movie's interesting because it has the most interesting source material.
Yeah.
Um, but if no, you knew nothing about The Room, maybe you'd like it more. But like, I don't know. I feel like I would probably like it less if I didn't know about The Room.
This does add a bit of a human element to show that this was like a guy's passion. This is really what he wanted to do.
From what I've looked up, they didn't actually portray Tommy's personality correctly because Tommy Wiseau is an enigma that no one understands, and this movie tries to understand him, but you can't because no one understands Tommy.
Speaking of things the movie failed to discuss, I guess, they
Yeah,
never mentioned that the actor behind Peter was changed near the end
yeah.
because of
Really?
Oh,
scheduling conflicts with the room.
I just realized we completely didn't even talk about Peter.
Yeah, he's just kind of there.
We didn't even mention him, man. Okay, yeah. Um, I've noticed that this movie had a lot of homoerotic vibes between Tommy and Greg. I feel like they're trying to like put it where like Tommy was like super protective over Greg or something, and he didn't like that anyone was involved in his life, and was like, I don't know, I feel like thought that was an interesting direction. I'd say at least I don't know. Feels like they were trying to understand Tommy, which again I feel like they kind of failed at, but I'd say the direction they took was at least a little interesting.
I know I haven't really said a whole. I haven't really talked a whole lot during this segment of the podcast, but um, to talk for a second, I thought the movie was good. Like I said, not really remarkable in any way, but I thought it was solid. But I watched this. Both my parents watched this movie with me because my mom likes James Franco and she was curious about this, even though she
Yep,
has absolutely no desire to see The Room.
yep.
But this movie made her mad.
Really?
Oh, how come?
Yeah, because watching like the production and how Tommy treated his cast and everything, and how he has all of this money that came from seemingly nowhere. My mom said there are so many talented people in this world who pour like their heart and soul into working hard to make like a dream come true. And here's this doofus with hundreds and millions of dollars from nowhere getting a movie made about him.
That's
Yep.
Tommy Wiseau for you.
And it just made her mad. And I'm like, Mom, I'm sorry that I'm sorry it made you feel that way.
Yeah, I find it just fascinating. This movie does actually address this, but Tommy knew nothing about like the equipment and stuff. So he bought both film cameras and digital cameras. And that honestly, like, I kind of wish I saw The Room after I saw Disaster Artist because, like, this time around, because I maybe would have tried to like look at all the shots and try to figure out which shots were
I
from the
think they
film
just stuck
camera.
with the HD digital camera for the whole movie.
Oh, okay. So all the film was just useless.
Yeah.
All right.
Again, he wasted like $5 million to make this movie.
Yep. Apparently Tommy rented that billboard that we see in the movie for 5 years in real life, so that's interesting.
Just a couple
This
of other
movie,
fun facts.
yeah, here's some fun fact. Let's go over the fun facts that were actually addressed in the movie. So Tommy spied on the crew through recording tapes and stuff, during the room's production. So that was addressed in the movie.
That was real.
The I did not hit her scene took taken 32 takes. That was also in the movie. Johnny calling Mark babyface in the movie refers to Greg's nickname according to Tommy, so that is also accurate to the Disaster Artist. And it looks like that is it.
There's
And
one thing the movie didn't address, though.
there's a couple
Uh,
things the movie didn't address,
I know,
but I'm
but
just
this
gonna
is
let you say it.
yeah, but this is one thing. So when Mark references Guerrero Street in the room, where he says like he knew a girl, she got beat up, they had to take her to a hospital on Guerrero Street. Tommy was initially against the idea of that street's name being in it because that's where his condo was.
Oh.
And then Greg was like, hey, no one will know. It's fine.
Okay. The line "You're tearing me apart" was supposed to be "You're taking me apart," but then Tommy misheard the line from another movie. All right, you need to say the one I'm highlighting. What the hell?
So, I'm going to assume this was going to be in the play, but Johnny was originally written to be a vampire and have a flying car, which is supposedly another one of his plot twists. I don't know
Huh.
what it would add to the movie. That's why I'm saying it's another one of those plot twists, because it adds nothing.
All right, and that pretty much covers all the trivia we have bumped out. So I guess let's just say our final thoughts. What score would you give Disaster Artist?
I would say an 8 out of 10. If you're a fan of The Room, then you'll definitely like this movie.
I'd give it a 5 out of 10, and I'd probably lump it in with like Green Hornet as one of the movies I'm probably never gonna rewatch. Like, it wasn't a terrible movie, but I find it interesting how I suggested we do a double feature with Disaster Artist, so it's, we have more to talk about. But honestly, we just ended up talking about The Room mostly. This is kind of
I
pointless.
mean, it is the movie about The Room, so...
Yeah, I know, but like I figured
Yeah.
Disaster Artist section would have more meat to it. But honestly, it's not that interesting of a movie. The Disaster Artist.
I'd say this movie is also a 7 to me. I mean, sorry, I really don't have much to say about this movie. I think it's
It's
good.
alright.
Yeah. So for this movie, I decided to refactor my rankings a bit. So I decided to just rank it based off how much I enjoy it. So because of that, I put The Room above The Invisible Man because I enjoy it more, and I moved Samurai Cop to be above Green Hornet but below The Departed. And Disaster Artist, I'm putting right above Green Hornet and below Samurai Cop. How would you guys rank it? I know
I have to think
uh
about that. I
Patrick, you're
definitely
putting.
put The Room at, like, near the top, because of course I would. Disaster Artist I might put in between Burn After Reading and The Departed.
What's Patrick? You're just gonna base off the last 2 weeks. I think that's what you said.
I
You want to rank it?
what I do is my ranking is that it's going to be within rounds of movies to recommend. For example, Lugia started this round, so
So you'll rank it next week.
uh, yeah. So I don't really put as much thought into these rankings because these are vastly different movies of varying quality, and my opinion will likely shift. I don't know. I only rank it because you guys do, but overall, I really
Okay.
don't know.
So let's just briefly go over the cast of Disaster Artist. So main character is James Franco, who you might know from Spider-Man and Oz the Great and Powerful. He was also in 127 Hours, which I'd argue is, I think, the best movie I've seen him in, besides Spider-Man. He was also in Spring Breakers and Pineapple Express. Pineapple Express is a Seth Rogen movie, and in the TV show Freaks and Geeks, also with Seth Rogen. And then Dave Franco's brother is best known for 21 Jump Street and Now You See Me. And the rest of the cast are mostly just cameos, so I'm not going to go into that. They don't play a super significant role. Bryan Cranston, he's known for, Breaking Bad and Malcolm in the Middle, Godzilla 2014. So, what is this tribute game that you have written down?
So the Room tribute game is a flash game on Newgrounds. You can still play it. It is a point-and-click adventure game with light RPG elements, i.e. there's like 2 battles in the game. It basically just goes over the plot of The Room, but from Johnny's perspective. So you get to see him at his bank job, and you get to see him do everything in the movie, I guess. There are a couple things that the game addresses that the movie doesn't, like how Peter, his appearance changed because the real Peter was run over by Chris R. And the ending is also slightly different depending on if you meet the 100% quota, which is 10 collectible spoons all throughout the world. If you collect all 10, Johnny will turn into a ghost alien after committing suicide, and he and his other ghost alien compadres turn the world into a spoon.
Spoon.
A spoon.
Why?
Because it's The Room.
That wasn't in the room. Okay.
The pictures of the utensils. The pictures of the utensils in the background.
All right. Okay, I guess.
I guess if you want more out of the room experience, then the game is kind of your next stop.
All right. What's next? I guess to talk about movies that are kind of similar. So since we're talking about two movies, decided to split it up. So we're going to talk about movies I find similar to The Room first, and then movies I find similar to The Disaster Artist. For The Room, I decided to split into accidentally bad and intentionally bad. So for accidentally bad, Birdemic and all of Neil Breen movies, just him as a whole. You'll pretty much get similar So Bad Is Good vibes, and also, of course, Samurai Cop, which we previously talked about. As for intentionally bad, I'd recommend Black Dynamite, Frankenstein's Monster's Monster, and Dark Place, which are both movies where they try to make a bad movie. I think Frankenstein's Monster's Monster is pretty interesting. It's only 30 minutes, but it has actually argue that's more similar to a Channel Awesome movie than The Room, but still. Oh yeah, that's the one. Accidentally Bad, Channel Awesome movies. That too. Black Dynamite's more blaxploitation, so I'd argue I guess Dark Place is the one that's closest to The Room. And Dark Place is presented as a documentary, so it has like you see the shitty show that they made, but also you get to talk to the cast and crew, and you get to see this arrogant Tommy Wiseau like figure. Anyway, as for movies similar to Disaster Artist, I already mentioned it, but Ed Wood, which I think is the best, directed by Tim Burton, tells the story of a bad filmmaker, and I find it a much more interesting character study. Then there's Dolomite Is My Name, which stars Eddie Murphy, which is about a dude who basically fought tooth and nail for success. I'd say that one's a bit more inspiring because he actually had no money, so he really, really had to like work hard to get his shitty movies made. He made blaxploitation stuff. Then there's Producers, which Producers is more so about people intentionally making a bad movie, but the thing is, outside of the main characters, all of them are like sincerely trying, they just suck. Then there's Inside Llewyn Davis, which is about a failed artist, though much more bitter ending. And last one be All That Jazz, which is about kind of an artist kind of losing it over troubled production. It is much more surreal. I also put Day for Night, but I never saw the movie. I just heard people compare it, so whatever. Anyway, I just briefly whip up a Q&A. Do you guys have any favorite So Bad Is Good movies?
Aside from The Room,
Yeah.
probably Fateful Findings by Neil Breen.
Yep, I think Food Fight is incredibly entertaining. That's probably mine.
My answer will always be The Cat in the Hat.
Ah, yeah, The Cat in the Hat too. That's also for me.
I
All
will
right.
humbly disagree.
I love that movie. Like, it's terrible, but I love it.
Yeah. So since we were talking about a lot of TV shows that ended recently or are giving revivals, are there any TV shows that you like that have ended recently, or any that you'd like to see get revived?
That is a good question.
I don't have any at the moment because I don't really watch TV anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. What's like a TV show I used to watch that I think would be great to have another season?
I guess Firefly is an obvious answer, but honestly, I'm not really sure I want another season of Firefly, especially because I don't like Joss Whedon.
I don't know. I really don't know.
I guess I'd maybe like to see another season of Spaced by Edgar Wright. I really liked that. That one did have a good ending though, so I don't know. I guess maybe not. American Vandal. That one I liked. It got canceled after 2 seasons. Oh, Freaks and Geeks. Since we mentioned Freaks and Geeks, that show ended
Oh
on
yeah,
a
Freaks and
cliffhanger.
Geeks.
Yeah, okay, I'd say that. Freaks and Geeks. That's a show I'd like to see come back.
I'd be down for that.
Yeah. Maybe the Dark Crystal show too. Or Glow. As for shows I liked that ended recently, I think last year BoJack Horseman ended, so BoJack Horseman. Good Place too. That's pretty good. Both of those are comedy shows that I like the story of more than the actual jokes. But you know, I like the story of them. Who cares if the jokes kind of suck? All right, so we talked about earlier in the episode. We mentioned Doc Ock is going to be in Spider-Man. So I was thinking, are there any other movies where you'd like to see crossover, or like characters from other movies that you'd like to see in new movies, different universes?
There's definitely a lot of potential in that. Question is,
Yeah.
would it be good?
That's the ultimate question. I guess that's Joker's trick. I don't know. So when I'm thinking about movie crossovers, I'm mostly thinking about Lego movies. I'm just trying to think, what's like a character from one movie that I'd like to see in another movie? Like, I don't know. Tommy Wiseau being the Joker in Batman.
There is a video about that with
I
him
know.
playing the Joker in the interrogation scene.
I know. I saw. That's why I put it because I just thought that'd be funny.
And once again, I have to say, I don't know.
All right. All right. Guess last question. Since Mortal Kombat recently came out and we mentioned Castlevania, are there any video games you'd like to see adapted to movies or TV shows?
Finally, a question I can answer.
Yes.
That is an easy one for me. But
Yep.
Patrick, you go.
Okay. Apparently, I read at one point this was something that was planned, but it never happened. I think a Crazy Taxi movie could be cool.
How the fuck would they make that? Good lord.
I don't know.
It would probably be an action movie.
Yeah, probably an action movie.
I'm guessing it'd be.
I'm a sucker for
Oh,
chase scenes,
got
so
it.
I think like this would be like one big chase scene movie. I think that would be cool.
You guys ever see Crank?
No.
No.
All right. I'd imagine a Crazy Taxi movie would be a mixture of Crank and Baby Driver or
Yes.
or Speed, that one with the bus.
Yes, like a Speed Baby Driver type
Yeah,
of
like
movie.
so a dude is like gets called in cars like you can't stop the car, you have to get in this location or we'll blow up the children or something. And that's why
Leave the children out of it.
I don't know. That's what a terrorist would do, probably. I don't know.
Well,
Whatever.
There were no children on the bus in Speed. It was all
yeah.
adults.
What I'd like to see adapted would be have you guys ever read the Archie Sonic comics?
I have.
Not.
Or the Archie Mega Man comics? I'd like to see those adapted to a TV show because I like those quite a bit. I would also really, really like to see the Pokemon Adventures manga get adapted into a TV show one day because I fucking love those, man. Although those are, I guess, comic books. So if I'm talking directly from video games, then maybe Devil May Cry. I'd say Devil May Cry, especially DMC3. That'd probably make a good movie, right?
Probably, yeah.
I heard Jacob's Ladder is pretty similar to Silent Hill, but I think that all the Silent Hill movies have a story that could really work as a movie. Also, Forbidden Siren, which is from the same development team as Silent Hill. Resident Evil 2, though Resident Evil, those do have movies. They just suck. But I'm saying, like, if they made an accurate movie, it'd probably be good.
If there was a game series that I would like adapted into a film, it would probably be Metroid.
Oh yeah, that'd be like Alien, but like with bounty hunters.
Probably, yeah. I feel like that could work for Zero Mission, Zero Mission and Fusion specifically.
Yeah. I think, I'd like to see Zelda, quite frankly. Just a fun adventure story. It can be a bit like, I don't know, Dragon Ball or something, but like, I think fun standalone adventure stories could work for Zelda. Especially Link's Awakening and Majora's Mask.
Okay, I think that could work.
Like the Pillow episode of Adventure Time. I think the Pillow Kingdom episode of Adventure Time, that's basically Link's Awakening, if you want to think about it. Yeah, I don't know, maybe mix a Dragon Ball Adventure Time. That could work as a Zelda story.
I remember there was an Adventure Time video game that was basically Zelda 2, so...
There's an Adventure Time video game that's basically Zelda 1, too.
Really?
No one played it, though. Yeah, it's called Secret of the Nameless Kingdom. I own it. I like it. But
the other one was called Hey Ice King, Why'd You Steal Our Garbage?
That's the one I played. I remember that was good.
Yeah, I played that one too. And then there's a third one, which is, I heard it's similar to Diablo, but I never played it, so I can't judge.
The Adventure Time video games had some really weird names.
Yeah. I would be
explore the dungeon because I don't know.
Yeah. I guess maybe Mario, because I find the Mario RPGs and the Mario comic to be pretty good, so that could probably make a fun TV show. Maybe.
Apparently they are making a Mario movie, supposed to come out next year, but we've heard nothing.
It's made by Illumination, I think.
But made by Illumination. So here's my question. Who do you think is going to be the Minion knockoff? Do you think it's going to be Toad, or do you think it's going to be the Goombas?
Probably Toad.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know, but they do call the enemies in the Mario games Bowser's minions. Just saying.
That's true.
Makes you think. I could see Bowser have some banter where he's like, all right, we got to take over. And then you see, like, the Koopas being like, Baba Booey. I feel like we talked about Nintendo a lot for these adaptations. I feel like Nintendo, they make really, like, creative worlds that you can make a good story out of. And outside of that, like, most games, they already have a pretty movie-like plot, all the Final Fantasy games, all Persona. Persona has been adapted to TV shows. Like, that's how you know that Persona can work.
There's like 4 Persona 3 movies.
Yeah, and they have a Persona 4 TV show, which is actually pretty good. Persona 5 TV show, which is pretty bad, but whatever. Like, what video game adaptations are there already? Like, I know Devil May Cry as an anime, so I guess maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that.
Obviously, Castlevania,
Yep,
Mortal
the Sonic
Kombat,
movie.
Street Fighter has a movie.
Yeah, everyone likes the villain of that. Everyone thinks that Raul Julia played a really good villain in the Street Fighter movie.
Correct me if
Freaking
I'm wrong.
Angry
He
Bird.
played the
Freaking
role
Angry Birds
for.
got 2 movies.
Yeah,
But going back to
I
Street
don't.
Fighter, I think he played the role specifically for his son because he
Yeah,
wanted to be in something that he knew his son would watch.
yeah. Also, he knew he was dying, so he was like, "My final role. I'm gonna do it for my kids." But that movie wasn't good. But I do think the line, "The day Bison graced your village was the most important day of your life, but for me it was Tuesday." That's the coolest fucking line, man. That's such a badass line. I feel like GTA 5 and San Andreas could make really good movies because like those feel like, real gangster movies plot wise. Same with Red Dead Redemption. Those could make good movies. Oh, Portal. Have you guys ever played Portal?
I've played the second game.
I think I played a little bit of it, yeah.
I think that has potential. Also, obviously, Last of Us, Metal Gear, and Uncharted, but
I
they're
think
actually
Metal
making an
Gear
Uncharted
is getting
movie.
a movie.
They're making a Last of Us TV show, a Metal Gear TV show, and an Uncharted movie, so all of those are getting adapted in the future. Also, Assassin's Creed got a movie, but no one liked that. Rampage, Detective Pikachu, and Monster Hunter recently came out. Yeah, and for to be announced, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Minecraft, Borderlands. So a lot of video game adaptations are coming out. I just don't think any of the ones we've gotten are good, and there's a lot of potential for good ones. The Yakuza games, those could be good. Oh shit, we've completely forgot about Ratchet and Clank, and we all saw those.
Oh yeah, they were making a Sly Cooper movie at one point, but that got
That got
canceled,
canceled.
Yeah.
and they're gonna make a TV show instead apparently, but like
But that
no further
also,
information. No further information.
I
yeah,
don't doubt if that's going to get canceled too.
yeah, probably.
Honestly,
Sly
it's
has
Cooper
not
could make
gotten
it.
Yeah,
anything in like
Sly
almost
Cooper
10
could make
years.
Sly Cooper could make a decent movie because it's basically a heist.
Yeah,
You can make
it
a
can
good
make a
heist
good TV
movie.
show. It can make a good TV show because the way it's broken up is as basically 4 different heists and then the final arc. So let's be like,
Yeah.
the TV show Great Pretender. I mean, that's essentially what Sly Cooper is, Great Pretender, or Lupin the Third. Like Sly Cooper could easily fit. Same with Ratchet and Clank; those could easily make a movie. But the thing is, what the actual Ratchet and Clank movie missed about the games is that Ratchet is kind of an asshole. Him and Clank are not friends; they're just forced together via circumstance, and then they become friends as it goes along. But Ratchet, he's kind of like his character is really good because he's kind of a little bit of a dick. Well, I think we've said enough. Patrick, what do you want to recommend for next week?
Oh, it's my turn, is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. For this podcast, we've mainly talked about movies geared for mature audiences. Like a lot of the movies we talked about have been like rated R and dealt with like violence and sex and stuff. I think the closest we've gotten to like a family-friendly movie is Scott Pilgrim, but like even that has like brief sex,
That's a.
swearing.
I think that's
and...
a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So teenagers.
Yeah.
All right.
And I mean, Green Hornet was also PG-13, but I think that's a bit too violent.
Yeah.
Honestly.
But I'm a Cheerleader has a pastel thing, but it has a talk about sex and shit. So
Yeah, but the point I'm getting at is that a lot of these movies have been geared towards older audiences.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm gonna recommend something a bit more family friendly, a bit more geared towards the kids.
I want to make a guess. Is it
Don't make a
animated?
guess. It's not animated.
Is it Paddington?
Stop it. I don't like it when you guess because
Okay, fine,
maybe
Maybe I'm right.
Okay.
All right.
Is it
Go on.
Cat in the Hat?
it's not the Cat in the Hat. We'll get to
Alright.
that one day, but not
Let's
today.
stop
I'm
the
sparing
guessing.
you this time. Okay. So yeah, this is a movie I remember liking as a kid, but it has been several years since I've last seen it. And this is a movie that most would call terrible. A guy I don't recognize, but I know for a fact Red has seen this movie. Lugia, maybe, I don't know. It's not like a well-known movie. It's mostly forgotten, but like when you bring it up, like people will likely be like, "Oh yeah." Ugh. The movie I am recommending is the 2010 family comedy Furry Vengeance.
I don't think I've heard of that before.
Revengeance? Can you spell that out? What?
Furry Vengeance.
Are you sure I've seen this movie?
Yes, we saw it together in theaters.
In 2010?
Yep. That is my recommendation. Do like a Google search. You'll likely recognize it. It stars Brendan Fraser.
I don't remember this movie.
You do not remember? Oh my god.
Well, that's those are good first impressions.
This movie's available for free on YouTube to watch.
It's
So.
also free on IMDb TV. I don't remember this movie at all. What the hell?
I'm surprised. I thought you would because you remember a lot of movies.
No, I just don't remember this, huh? That's interesting.
Okay.
Are we actually going to be having a movie that's worse than Green Hornet? Oh god. If Red doesn't remember it, then
I remember Yogi Bear. I remember Mr. Popper's Penguins. I remember I remember a lot of weird movies I've seen, but like I don't. What is this? Is this a comedy?
Yes, it's a comedy. It's a slapstick comedy. Yeah, for next week, Furry Vengeance.
Yeah, I've never even heard of this movie. What the hell?
And you saw it with me in theaters.
Are you sure I saw it?
I am absolutely positive.
All right. Okay. I must have blocked it out.
Well, it's been over a decade, so.
It has been over a decade, yeah. Okay.
All right, we'll see you all then.
thanks a lot. Bye.